No one expected Ethan Cole to come home that afternoon, least of all the people inside the house. The black sedan rolled silently through the iron gates of the sprawling estate in Connecticut, tires crunching softly against the gravel drive. Ethan sat in the back seat staring out the window, his phone dark for the first time in years. He had boarded a private jet in Zurich only hours earlier, cutting short a high-stakes deal that would have made headlines by morning. For once, the world of money, power, and relentless ambition felt unbearably loud. He needed quiet. He needed home. Ethan Cole was a self-made millionaire, the kind celebrated in business magazines for his vision and discipline. He had built an empire from nothing after his wife, Laura, died giving birth to their twin daughters. That loss had hardened him. He told himself he worked for the girls, Emma and Lily, but in truth, work was also his refuge. Meetings replaced bedtime stories. Contracts took precedence over school plays. Love was outsourced to nannies, tutors, and a quiet woman named Maria, who had been with the family for 5 years. As the car stopped, Ethan noticed something odd. The house, usually buzzing with staff and structure, felt different. No guards at the door, no assistant rushing out with a clipboard. Just a warm hush that felt almost sacred. He stepped inside without announcing himself, drawn forward by the sound of small voices drifting from the living room. "Say it slowly," a gentle voice instructed. "Look at her eyes. That's how she knows you mean it." Ethan paused at the hallway corner, unseen. His daughters sat cross-legged on the Persian rug, their identical brown curls tied back with mismatched ribbons. Between them knelt Maria, the maid. She wasn't cleaning or cooking, she was teaching. "I'm sorry," Emma said, her small hands folded tightly in her lap. "I didn't mean to hurt you." Lily looked at her sister, eyes glossy. "I forgive you," she replied, her voice trembling. "Sincere." Maria smiled softly. "Good, now hug." The girls wrapped their arms around each other, holding on a second longer than usual. Ethan felt something tighten in his chest. This wasn't a lesson from a private tutor. This wasn't etiquette or French or piano. This was something else entirely. Maria stood and moved to the piano in the corner, its glossy surface untouched for months. She pressed a few keys not to play a song, but to create a simple melody. "Now," she said, "who remembers why we say thank you?" Lily's hand shot up. "Because someone gave us something?" "Yes," Maria nodded. "And what else?" Emma thought hard. "Because it shows we see them?" Maria's eyes shone. "Exactly. Gratitude is how we see people." Ethan froze. Gratitude, seeing people. Words he hadn't truly practiced in years. He remembered Maria's resume. Limited education, immigrant, quiet. He'd hired her quickly. Grateful she asked for little and worked tirelessly. He had never once asked about her life, her dreams, or what she taught his children when no one was watching. Maria clapped her hands softly. "Okay, girls, time for our stories." Ethan leaned closer, his breath shallow. "Today," Maria said, "I want to tell you about a little girl who had only one pair of shoes. Every day she cleaned houses after school to help her mother. She was tired, but she was kind. When she grew up, she became a teacher because she believed the world changes when we teach love first." "That's you," Lily said suddenly. Maria laughed, a soft, surprised sound. "Yes," she admitted, "that was me." Ethan's heart pounded. Maria had never spoken of her past, never mentioned sacrifice, never asked for sympathy. And yet here she was, offering the most valuable lessons to his children, for free. "Girls," Maria continued, "your father works very hard, but the most important thing you can learn is not how to earn money. It's how to be gentle when the world is not." At that moment, Ethan stepped into the room. The girls gasped, "Daddy!" They ran to him, wrapping their arms around his legs. He hugged them tightly, inhaling the familiar scent of shampoo and crayons. His eyes met Maria's. For the first time, he truly saw her, not as staff, but as a teacher, a guide, a quiet force shaping the hearts of his children. "I didn't mean to interrupt," Ethan said, his voice rough. Maria straightened, suddenly nervous. "I'm sorry, sir. I hope I wasn't—" "No," he interrupted gently. "You were teaching." She nodded. "I try to teach them what my mother taught me. Things that don't cost money." Ethan swallowed hard. "Like forgiveness?" "Yes. Gratitude? Yes. Humanity? Maria smiled. Especially that. That night, Ethan couldn't sleep. He replayed the scene over and over, the way his daughters listened, the way Maria spoke with intention, the warmth he hadn't realized was missing from the house. He thought of the millions in his accounts, the awards on his walls, the empty chair at the dinner table where Laura used to sit. The next morning, Ethan canceled all his meetings. When Maria arrived for work, she found the dining table set for 4. "Please," Ethan said, pulling out a chair, "sit with us." She hesitated. "Sir, that's not—" "That's exactly what it is," he said firmly. During breakfast, Ethan asked questions he should have asked years ago, about Maria's childhood, her journey, her dreams. She spoke softly, never bitter, only honest. The girls listened, wide-eyed. Afterward, Ethan knelt in front of Maria. "You have given my daughters something priceless," he said, "and I've done nothing to deserve it." Maria shook her head. "Love doesn't need to be deserved." Ethan stood, tears in his eyes. "I want you to help me change this house, not as a maid, as family." He offered her a contract, not for cleaning but for mentorship. A salary that stunned her, funding for her to finish her education, a promise that her voice would always be welcome. Maria cried. So did he. Over the months that followed, the house transformed, not because of renovations or new art, but because of presence. Ethan learned to come home early, to listen, to apologize. He learned that success wasn't measured in numbers, but in moments, like when his daughters thanked the gardener by name or hugged each other after an argument. One evening, as they sat together on the rug, Ethan watched Maria guide the girls through another lesson. This time, it was simple. "What do we do when someone is hurting?" Maria asked. Emma answered without hesitation. "We show up." Ethan smiled, a quiet, grateful smile. He finally understood that the greatest inheritance he could give his daughters wasn't wealth, but wisdom, and sometimes the most extraordinary teachers arrive quietly, carrying nothing but a heart full of lessons. That was the day Ethan Cole truly came home,